So hey guys, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be discussing Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan breaking up and the reaction that many people had about the situation. So it was recently announced that idolized couple Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan have split after over a year of dating. As you all know, when they first came out as a couple, many people were shocked, but they were here for it. Lori Harvey was coming out of a relationship with the rapper Future, and Michael B. Jordan had never gone public with anybody, but rumors of his interest in white women and the narrative that he didn't like black girls was definitely a big thing. So with them breaking up, many theories have been going around to discuss what happened and how we got here. Many people thought Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan were, in a sense, a match made in heaven. They are a beautiful couple, they do exude black love, and both of their personalities seem to match each other from what we see as onlookers. But we now see that there was obviously some form of disconnect, some form of point of contention, or just something that completely didn't work, and they're now broken up. I wasn't originally going to speak about this because I just don't think that people dating and breaking up is news, but I've spoken about Lori Harvey and her dating habits in the past, and I think this does fall in line with that. For me, as a 24-year-old young lady who is peers with Lori Harvey, she's 25 and I'll soon be 25, it's almost like I can resonate with parts of her dating mindset, even though she's always very silent about how she dates. And that is part of the reason why I think I like her and why a lot of women defend her, is because she's very strategic in dating and kind of shows that she has a certain level of standards to an extent. The standards is rich and well known, but still. In Michael B. Jordan's case, he was coming from a place of bad press, and I think unfortunately for him, he's seen as the actor and the ladies' man who is likable. And to a lot of men who want to exude this aggressive or dominant driven attitude in dating, he isn't as relatable in this regard to men in his peer group. So I think the backlash that Lori Harvey is receiving and the praise that Michael B. Jordan is getting is a result of demographic politics, and I really want to touch on that within this video. So I've broken this video down into two main talking points, so without further ado, let's get right into this video. So point number one is the narrative. So the narrative is blatantly an allegation because nobody really knows what happened. There's a lot of people saying that people should learn to mind their own business, but if you're even making any slight tweets, Instagram comments, or full-blown YouTube video about any situation, then you're not minding your business. If you're adding any commentary to any situation, you're not minding your business. This is media that we all consume, and I think that instead of pushing out this idea that people shouldn't pay attention to these very public examples of regular life situations, we can use a lot of these public situations with celebrities, influencers, and socialites to learn something. The narrative is being spun that with Michael B. Jordan being 35 years old and Lori Harvey being 25 years old, Michael B. Jordan was ready to commit and take the next step in their relationship and work towards a marriage, while Lori Harvey was not. So this has nothing to do with cheating. This has nothing to do with finances. This has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with family ties. From what is being posted, this has everything to do with age and where both of these two individuals are within their lives. So I do want to bring up the point that we are in an era that tells a lot of young women who are between the ages of 18 and 25 that we should be with men who are much older than us, like very much older than us. This whole sugar daddy, sugar baby epidemic, if you will, has definitely gone super deep in the lives of a lot of young women. And I'm not saying that's the case with Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan, but what I am saying is that a lot of us young women have this notion to strive for men that are way older than us because we expect finances to be together. We expect there to be a heightened level of maturity and the level of seriousness to be overly present. And it all sounds good and looks good, but is it truly good for what a lot of us young women want? Like, I truly want you all to question yourself and ask yourself, at 22 years old, if you start dating a man who was 32 years old and he is ready for marriage, will you accept that knowing that you still have a lot of your young life to live? So I don't think a lot of us young ladies really think that far. We think in the moment of having this older man who is attractive, financially stable, and has lived life, who can teach us a little bit more about life. But then when life gets serious, we realize that we are not mature or emotionally developed to align with somebody who is older than us. And I know the joke is that men never mature, or they don't mature until they're about 35 plus. But even outside of that, somebody who is 10 years your senior is just in a different life era than you are. Regardless if the relationship is compatible or not, the life that they've lived versus what you have lived is just simply different. So with Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan, if the rumors are true, I think both parties are at fault, but also not at fault. They are at fault because both of them should have gone into the relationship knowing each other's intentions and answering questions along the way about where exactly they wanted to take their relationship and how serious one another was as they progress through their love life. And because it seems that that conversation either wasn't had or was only had when the relationship reached a certain threshold, this is the result. They're also not at fault because I truly think that the life of celebrities is different than regular people in regards to the things that they do at certain ages. So the other rumor that this was a fake contractual relationship is kind of something I can consider. I mean, if it's true that they were just dating to benefit one another, then they're not at fault for cutting ties after a year plus and allowing each other to seek what they're both looking for. You guys can let me know in the comment section whether or not you think this was a contracted relationship or a real relationship, but regardless, they became an item, and I think the narrative that they put out was honestly unrealistic. A young woman in her 20s taking a man serious who is closer to 40 than he is 30 is kind of crazy. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. Of course, there's always exceptions to the rule. And I know there are some girls that may say, hey, I'm 25 and I'm ready to settle down right now. But let's speak about the average. The average 25-year-old girl, and in Lori's case, she was 23 or 24 when she got with him, is not ready to tie the knot after 1 year of dating. There are many reasons for this. I'm not sure what Lori's is, but it could be just not being emotionally mature, being afraid to have that level of permanent commitment, feeling as though there is something inadequate within the partner or the relationship, wanting to spend more time in the dating phase to really get to know somebody, and other factors that can contribute to why she was apprehensive to take the next step. In Michael's case, I think it's fair that he wants to get married, but I also feel as though if he was looking for something that serious, that should have been discussed at the very beginning so that something like this does not happen. And it seems like he gave her an ultimatum, and because she didn't accept that ultimatum, the relationship ended. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the show Ultimatum on Netflix. That show drove me completely crazy. It was like I was watching my college relationship on TV all over again, especially with the girl Ray and her boyfriend Zay. It was crazy. Regardless, I think the narrative amongst dating someone older than you is just glamorized in the media and on social media. But the reality is a lot of us young people, especially as young women in our early and mid 20s, just aren't there yet. So I don't think Michael is wrong for wanting what he wants, but I do think that knowing that you're an older guy dating someone who is still in her let's have fun era of their life is kind of asking for the result in which he got. There was a clip of him out at a sporting event in which he did look kind of heartbroken, and the blogs did say that both of them are very heartbroken about the situation, whether that's true or not. An amicable breakup is just as hard as anything because you're basically saying that we both know that we love each other, but for certain reasons, we cannot be together. Now, point number 2 is gender wars. Now, of course, this entire breakup brought up the gender wars between black men and black women. I try not to speak on this too much because either I'm a pick-me or I hate black men, or I'm a feminist, or I'm called someone who believes in patriarchy. So there's never any real clarity on these topics when you try to speak in a minimally biased format. I like to drag men and women, and I also like to give men their credit as well as give women their credit. In this case, I see social media having the Lori warriors versus the Michael B. Jordan jungle, basically trying to point fingers at who is wrong. Men are saying that this is why it's hard to date women in this era, because when you give a woman everything that we say that we're asking for, you can still get turned down and she may not want to be with you even though you're ready to take her seriously. Women are saying that men impose dominance or create ultimatums that are unrealistic and only benefit them. And I think both arguments are fair to say, but in this case, I think the arguments kind of offset one another. As a society, or just as social media users, I think we are kind of blowing this out of proportion because this was not a ratchet relationship built with scandals and drama. This was a relationship that came to an end because both parties realized what they wanted and their intentions did not align with each other, and they amicably separated. And I really don't see what's wrong with that. I think men and women nowadays in the black community are really looking to be at odds with one another, hence why I try not to get too gaslighted into these spaces that just blatantly speak down on women and men. I don't want to have any part in those conversations unless it's an evident and well-deserved dragging that is needed to be had. Michael B. Jordan allegedly dated Lori Harvey to rid himself of the reputation of being a master of the snow bunnies. People dragged him for liking white girls, being that the majority of his audience were black women, and as typical as it is for an attractive black male celebrity to favor white women or racially ambiguous women or even light-skinned black women, he ends up with Lori Harvey. It does seem very calculated. And then in Lori Harvey's case, this was a girl who was called out for moving too fast and getting with a whole bunch of high-profile men and pretty much building up her roster and collecting Thanos gems for her glove of guzzling gentlemen. And the reputation that comes with dating a rapper, especially one like Future, just really isn't the best. So in her case, she dated Michael B. Jordan, who has a pretty good reputation and is Black and attractive, and it offset both of their issues in the end. The gender war that exists when the conversation of dating comes about in the Black community is one that has no solution. I don't like the fact that the narrative behind Lori Harvey is that because she decided to accept being dumped by Michael B. Jordan because she stood on her choice to not go forward with marriage at this moment, that makes her a bad person. I don't think that's fair to say, because imagine if she did decide to go forward with it and it failed. Imagine if she agreed to be more serious and get married, knowing that she only has a year of dating under her belt with this man and seemingly needed more time to be sure of her decision. With a track record like hers, I think it's kind of foolish that Michael B. Jordan wanted to take things a step further after only a year, because she doesn't seem to be super decisive with the guys that she dates, and I do think she should have been upfront about that at the very beginning of their relationship. It seems like she had the joyride of getting that I dated a rapper reputation off of her and fell for someone who made her look good, feel good, but was in a different mind space than she was. And then when she woke up and realized that she's moving too fast and may get herself in too deep, she stood her ground and respectfully pulled out, which I don't see a problem with. In Michael's case, I do think it's a great thing to see a Black man wanting to marry a Black woman. I hope Lori Harvey's Black. I think she is. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But for him to want to exemplify Black love and exemplify treating a woman the way how she's supposed to, and then he also remains someone who is likable. He has a lot of the check boxes ticked off. He's tall, he's handsome, talented, financially stable, and isn't really into much scandal at all. So he is deserving of someone who can match that energy, and I hate that men are giving him flack for being a quote-unquote simp. I don't see how he was a simp. Like, if y'all just don't like women, just say that, because a man treating his woman with respect and giving her what she deserves or what he feels that she deserves is not simping. It's even Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but the amount of comments that I saw from men ripping Michael B. Jordan apart for trying to take Lori Harvey to the next step of their relationship is the reason why men deal with mental health problems in the first place. They like to say that women don't allow men to express emotion, but I call BS. It's men that further ruin other men's mental health, because as a group, men don't allow each other to open up, be soft, and put out emotion. Y'all have to do better on that. I also think that we can't look past the fact that a 35-year-old man was trying to take a 25-year-old woman seriously. And I know people like to say age is just a number, but if we're living in reality, the chances are she isn't where you are. So as an older man, that's something that you have to expect and work with, and do what Michael B. Jordan did and break up with her if you know what you want and that you deserve better. There's nothing wrong with him having those standards. The gender war of the situation is not the issue. The issue was simple. There was an age gap that presented a point of contention in their individual desires, relationship goals, and relationship maturity, and both parties could not agree on it. Simple as that. I think Michael B. Jordan would make a great couple with maybe like Megan Good. I mean, she's recently single. She's a bit older than him, but they would look good together. Hey, maybe even Lauren London or even Journey Smollett. They can get back to their Friday Night Lights type time. I'm just playing, but for real. But I just don't see really the big deal of why men and women are going so hard for both of these people when the situation seems a lot more amicable in the breakup versus it being one person's fault over the other. I'm very solution-based, and I think the solution would have just been for them to continue dating, but if they knew right then and there that he wants something serious and he's looking for a marriage and she isn't, then the smartest thing for them to do was to end the relationship, and that's exactly what happened. Overall, I think a lot of us young 20-something-year-old girls, it sounds good to date the guy who is 40 or close to it, but you have to ask yourself, are you truly emotionally mature to be at that life timeline with someone who is much older than you? Because their set of desires and goals may not align with yours. The one thing I do like about Lori Harvey is that she stands on whatever her standards are. She's not going to half-ass her standards to appease anyone. If it means leaving Future, she will. If it means dating for petty reasons, the whole thing with Diddy and his son, if that's even true, she will. And I really don't agree with that one. And overall, if it means slowing down her relationship that is moving too fast for her and walking away from that, she'll do that too. I think this is a good example of when everything in a relationship, at least from the outside looking in, goes right and looks right. There was no cheating, no drama, no other woman or other men. This was just an example of two people having to agree to disagree on what they wanted out of their relationship and walking away. We never see these types of examples because most celebrity relationships deal with adultery and infidelity and outside babies, but I wanted to talk about this because it did show this ulterior example of why sometimes people break up. I think there's somebody out there for both of these individuals, and it's life. They'll make this mistake or this choice choice and eventually lead them to the person that they're supposed to be with. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. Also, please stream my song Ballin'. It is out on all platforms. I will have it linked down below, the video and the link to the song. Lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks. Thank you guys for messaging me and connecting with me. I do appreciate it. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.
Tell him brown skin goddess, yeah, he telling me I'm heaven sent. 2 green stripes, 1 white, and it's evident. He said he want an African, well baby don't be hesitant. But if I lose interest, I'ma still need 10%. African girls from the world, tell them represent. On from my brown skin girls, and it's nothing less. Johnny yeah bad, playing checkers while I'm playing chess. You mess with Queen Chioma, then you know you messing with the best. I'm tall like a teak, juicy like a kiwi. Bars graduated, they was telling me to free me. And yeah, he called me Chi-Chi, he grabbing on my cheat-cheats. Damn, what you mean with the team, green, white, so I rock to the beat, oh yeah. And I shake on the beat, oh yeah. Few bands for a feature, so my money know they spoil. Chioma, I'm hot, I bring water to a boil. Come on, one time for the melanin girls, skin popping in the sun. Let me hear you one time, baby, let me hear you one time.